Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Rush for this Friday, August 28th, 2026. I am here with my co-host, Susan Cummings. Hello, Susan.
For once, I know I'm next.
That's right. Yes, exactly. We got that completely nailed correctly.
Yeah, look at that.
Right? On this one. And I know you're coming back from
I think
games.
it's everyone else that screws us up, Chris. It's not me. It's not you.
That's because we're professionals. The other two,
Exactly.
we
Mark and Dean are in here.
we kind
They
of
don't know
bring
what
them along, help them
Sure.
to be better,
Sure.
Susan, but we do our best. We do our best. And speaking of which, Dean is a little missing in action as a result of Gamescom. Don't know exactly where in the world Dean is. And that's not a Carmen Sandiego reference, but it could be. And Mr. Delora is still winging his way back from Gamescom. And I know that
And
he
he's
got
sick.
Yeah. He got that conference crud. But I'm so glad that you were able to make it back and that you could join
And I
me
did get to
today.
see him. And I did get to see Dean.
I know. The FOMO
I didn't get to
here
see a
was
certain Chris.
unbelievable.
Yeah, I was really sad not to see
I
you.
know.
You were missed.
It was very sad that I wasn't able to get there. But
And Perrin Kaplan was there. I saw Perrin.
yeah.
Perrin looks amazing. She looks like $1 million. I kept
Aw.
telling her how hot she was. She looks amazing. She really does. And she's blonde now.
Oh, she is?
Yeah, Perrin's a blonde.
Oh, my goodness gracious.
I know.
All right.
I didn't know what to make of all that.
Oh, well, I missed all my friends there. And of course, we may be missing some of our friends on LinkedIn because we are currently not streaming there this week. We've had kind of
wondering why I don't see a link to that. What's
yeah,
going
we've
on
had
with
a kind of an up and down when it came to LinkedIn, and with regard to just getting a stable connection in there, and it cratered completely last week. So I was like,
Really?
okay, yeah. So we can't have a partial one and then be fumbling along to get that done. So let's go in and remind our LinkedIn friends that we are over here on
Yes.
YouTube, right?
that? Point.
And
Yeah.
let me see here. We are doing the show today. Yeah, we are. I just saw your message, Susan, in
Oh, I see. Yeah.
in our chat. Yes. So go ahead and make your way if you happen to be. Well, if you're not watching us on LinkedIn because you can't make your way over. We're going to go ahead and repost that we are on LinkedIn, and make sure you get over there to see us. So let's go ahead and get all of those things done before we go ahead and jump into it. So tell me real quickly. So how was your trip over to Gamescom, and then kind of on the way back?
The way over was totally uneventful. I flew in on Saturday. I was there early because Google was having this demo at DevCom. So I needed to muck in and make sure our game was working. So I was there a bit early, which was nice. It was a nice mellow lead into the week. There were a few people like John Middleton were around and ready to go, And it was a tremendous week. It was I've only been to 2 Gamescoms, believe it or not. And it was my second one. I missed last year. So the attendance apparently was up 15%, I read.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I heard.
There were a lot of Americans there. A lot of our compatriots made the trip. Chris didn't. And so,
I know
that. But yeah, it was a really well attended and busy event this year. Tons and tons of side events too.
Yeah, I've only been to Gamescom. My goodness, did I go twice? I can't even remember now. Yeah, twice. And it just seems that where it hits in the year, it's also, back to school time and stuff like that. And especially with, still one kid in college, right? And so I didn't get to go. And of course, with my new responsibilities here at AWS, I was unable to go ahead and make my way out, but I'm hoping to get back there. But yeah, I mean, it feels, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like E3 used to feel, right?
Exactly that. Yeah. Just the public's allowed in too, so, and lots of cosplay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. See, so it's more than just a games conference, right? It's a celebration of all things.
Now, full
games.
disclosure,
Yeah.
I never stepped inside the actual consumer business. I think a lot of folks who were there for work never stepped inside the consumer thing, but it was cool. It was cool to see people walking around dressed in cosplay outside, the arena and things like that. But I did not partake. I feel like I missed a lot, though. It does look like E3 from the pictures I've seen.
Well, I will tell you, I mean, I would have to be dragged out of the retro game spot, right, inside of Gamescom, because there was so much going on that I do have some news snap, but I haven't been able to catch up on a whole lot of news from Gamescom. So I was hoping, Susan, that you may regale us with some content that you saw there and kind of what were the big takeaways that you got from Gamescom this year. And also for anybody that's joining, if you have any questions or comments for us, please go ahead and add them right to the chat there, and we'll get to them. But
we doing the chat on LinkedIn, or the chat on YouTube as well?
Well, if people want to go in and chat on LinkedIn, yes, I will make sure that we're there to cover the chat on LinkedIn. But yeah, on YouTube and Twitch, I've got all the chats up so I can see wherever anybody is coming from, where to go and respond to. So, all right.
Nice.
Share, please.
Well, I did get, I was trying to remember what it's called. The opening dinner, there's a leadership dinner that Gamescom through, and you would have loved this. They gave us a little retro pocket games machine. That was the goodie bag.
Nice. So did you play any classics on your way home?
So Lee is headed to London today. I just went in, so I sent him off with that. So that was like the consolation prize, was he gets the gaming system with like 150 retro games installed in it.
There you go.
I got a lot of credibility for bringing that back. That was all I needed. I did hear a lot of good buzz about the new Lego game, which I'm disappointed I didn't get to see. Did you hear about the new Lego game?
No, I did not.
That was talked about quite a bit. Yeah. We might want to look it up and find out.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and do that.
This isn't a specific game news, because like I said, I was stuck in meetings the whole time. But I did feel like there was a renewed energy in the air. There definitely were some bad stories too, and people who were struggling to raise capital and things like that.
Sure.
But by and large, it just feels like things are happening again.
Good.
Whether it's publishing deals, investment deals, jobs, new things.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have a new camera. Your video seems oddly high def to me.
Oddly high def. I do have a new camera.
I can tell. It's really good.
Well, thank you. I mean, it still has to capture this mug and squeeze it right onto the internet. But other than that, yeah, it's a pretty good camera.
It's gotta be. That's like, and I very rarely get impressed with cameras, but I'm like, wow, it's like you're sitting across from me.
Yes. Look at that. Right? Who needs holograms when you have this crystal camera? Yeah, I've got a whole new kind of setup here now, where I also have a demo camera too. We kind of debuted that last week with Mark, where I'm able to actually, put a device or something out here on the desk, and now I've got a nice overhead camera that we can switch to and demo things. So look at how fancy.
And well, our good friend Amir won a big award.
He sure did. Yes, Amir Sadvat won a huge award and gave the opening keynote, right? For DevCom.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, were you able to get there to hear his
I was, because I was also demoing the game like 20 feet away from where he was doing the keynote.
Okay, well, tell us where were you demoing the game, and how did all of that go for you?
Oh, it was at the Google Cloud booth, and one of your buddies from Amazon came by to see it. We sent you a picture, I think.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
We made him in the game. Yeah. Yeah. The Google was one of the sponsors, and so it was Google Gamescom is massive. So Sunday, I had to go help to make sure the game was set up and running and Steam was installed and stuff. And I cannot tell you, I did 25,000 steps that day because I couldn't find them. I was everywhere. And then it turned out they weren't in the regular sort of 3-floor DevCom thing. They were in Convex, which is where the speeches were.
Yeah.
Where the indie game thing was. And then there were a few things present there, one of which was Google. And so that was where we were showing the game.
Very, very cool.
It was cool. Yeah. Jack Buser was there and full of all of his usual enthusiasm and excitement about AI in games, which is great. He name dropped us in a blog. That was very cool too.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I was there on my own though, so I had to do some demoing. I mean, they did a lot of demoing for us while I left and did other things, but I had to demo. I'm getting too old for it. I do like 2 demos, and I'm like, I need to go have a nap. I need to go sit down and get coffee.
Look, Susan, I get it. I do. I get it for sure. But yeah, to your point there, Gamescom Dev announced their opening night keynotes by Amir Sadvat and first program highlights. So he did do that opening there and did win, once again, a very well-deserved award. Amir is, for those of you that have not really had the pleasure of getting to know Amir, beyond just, the stuff that we see on LinkedIn and the stuff that he does in the community, he is truly one of the most gracious, unselfish, purest kind of voices and people that we have in the industry. I mean, he really cares and really just wants to help people. And it's one of the things I love about him. He has become a very close friend. Nothing but love for you, Amir. And, it's just wonderful to see that, the good that he puts out in the world is coming back to him as well. He deserves every great thing, right? So
totally. I could not agree more. One of the highlights at Gamescom for me was having dinner with Amir and some others that first night in town.
Yeah. Like I said, unfortunately, people were sending me messages and stuff throughout the week, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, right? Why are you all, paining me this way, right?"
Next year, Chris. Next year,
for sure. Okay, well, let's go ahead. So Gamescom's here. We have some other stuff that I'll bring up about Gamescom.
The GTA leak. I guess we got to talk about the GTA leak and then the GTA Netflix.
Well, we talked about the GTA leak last week.
Talked about that last week. I missed that one.
Let's go ahead and talk about GTA 6. So have you had a chance to watch the demo yet?
I have not yet. No.
Wow.
How was it? I assume you watched it.
Absolutely, I did. And actually, one of the things was, right, it came out there on Netflix. Of course, there were snippets of it that were released, but prior to the launch on Netflix. But I waited. Mark and I talked about this last week. We kind of restrained ourselves from going and finding some of the leak clips. I'm like, I just want to experience it the way Rockstar wants us to experience it. Now, one of the things I was hoping that they would do, so I wasn't disappointed by it, but it would have been nice to have seen it, I would love for them to even have done maybe 5 or 10 minutes of interviews with like leadership on the team to talk about why something like this, took well over a decade to create, why it took so many people, right? The complexity of the systems that are required in there. Because when you watch the gameplay demo, I mean, they have to be among the 2 or 3 greatest world building publishers in the history of the industry. Just the depth of the environments, where you could go, the attention to detail was insane. Absolutely insane. So yeah, according to the article here, I thought maybe we'd get some screenshots in there, but we don't have them. GTA 6 extended look was a 27-minute extended trailer sharing yet unseen footage from Rockstar Games' upcoming title, which of course is slated for November 19th. And yeah, it was awesome to see. I mean, it's GTA. Now, the thing about it for me, Susan, was I'm like, okay, I was looking at it, marveling again at the detail of the world. You could see some of the things that broke, right, a little bit. Oh, Mark is saying hello from Munich Airport. Yes, we're sorry you're not here, though, buddy. We're sorry that you're not here. Where's my other sound effect for you? Yeah, we hope you're feeling better and have a safe trip back, buddy. And we'll see you on the next one. So, anyway, so there were things like, hair movement and things like that are still kind of stilted. So while there's massive leap forward just in scale and dynamism and like all of those things that you wanted out of this, right? There are some things, obviously, they're not going to be able to do. And so I did hear some critical points of view online about some of those things. But overall, in the grand scheme of it, like it is an absolute, it was worth the wait. It's worth the wait.
Look, a few things as someone who worked there back in the day. GTA has never been about the graphics and the technology. It's always been about the world and the story building and the gameplay and stuff like that. So I hope that that's why, in terms of where the attention went, as opposed to, the technology and pushing more pixels and stuff, As for why it took 10 years, I mean, look, candidly, the company has changed dramatically in that time. Most of the people who made the last Grand Theft Auto are gone. So it was a very different regime there, right? Like four of the 5 founders of Rockstar are gone. Leslie Benzies is gone. A lot of the Rockstar London people changed hands. So, and I think that the other truth, and it was mostly a good thing, is that culture has changed. When I was at Rockstar 20 years ago or so, we worked 6-7 days a week constantly. And long hours and showing face just to be seen in the office. There's a lot of bad to say there. And I don't think that the newer folks coming up in the industry are willing to do that. And it's a double-edged sword, right? Mostly that's a great thing, right? Because no one should have to do that. But it also means, the crazy attention to detail and fastidiousness that makes Grand Theft Auto is going to take a lot longer if you're not working 7 days a week.
Sure. So, and I think it's such an interesting point and way to think about it too, because when we were coming up in the industry, right, whether you're working on a game or you're working on technology or you're working on, right, in service of the industry, right, you put in all those hours. Not to say that game developers aren't putting those hours in. We're not saying that at all. But what we are saying is that, the culture is different, the shift's different. And I think some of that has to do with scale. Some of it has to do with, people that were putting in those types of hours as part of a core team. You were kind of on this shared mission and, right, everybody shared in the accolades and everybody shared, in the revenue and that kind of stuff. And the bigger the team, right, then it starts becoming the job versus, passion. And you can't, one of the things that we've seen, we won't name names, right? But there have been companies that have exploited the passion that developers have in making games, right? Which isn't right either. When I think about yes, the culture has changed, the dynamics of game development have changed, where we can create games have changed. But again, even just seeing the glimpse of the scale of what they built, it is not a surprise at all that it took this long. A family member actually said to me, why? Like a decade to do this? When you see the cityscape that you can traverse and the details in each of the buildings, now you know, right? It's like saying, well, how come it took a decade to build a city? Well, because there's a lot, that goes into it. And to make sure geometry works and game system and loops work and all of these other things, right? And my understanding is that what we saw was on the stock PS5, right? Not the Pro, that footage. So now when you're talking about 50 series, RTX, cards running on desktop PCs, right? It's going to get crazy
when the PC version comes. That's next year, right? The PC version. It's not coming out at the same time.
I think, again, super smart for them to do it that way because, like the mod community, online community, like all of those in themselves are massive, massive things to manage, maintain, watch for. So, right. So it's like, let's unpack this a bit at a time. Lockdown, single player only, 2 principal consoles. Good. Like you can manage that. Now we got to make ready for PC launch and all the mods that come in the communities. Okay. That happens. Then we have to, it's like, so I think it's very smart of them to unpack that carefully, right? And give room for them to be able to breathe, right? So, but here's another interesting fact that came out from Rachel Kaiser over there at GamesBeat. Netflix's viewership spiked 35%.
Wow.
Yes.
That's very interesting, isn't it?
Right. Isn't that crazy? Netflix extended look, right? The viewer numbers went up 35% hour over hour for the hour the presentation began over the previous one. It went up 50% from the same time the previous day. Right. So when we think about the importance of video games and the desire for people to play and connect with those, huge, right? Huge opportunity.
Yeah.
What did you all think that are watching right now? If you had a chance to go look at the trailer, let us know your comments and thoughts in the trailer. I'm also going to rework our setup here so I can start to push those comments back into our live stream instead of them just being locked into there. Now that we're really going to, I think, land on YouTube and Twitch as the 2 places that we stream out predominantly to, it gives me a lot more flexibility from production side. So yeah. So I think that was awesome. And I think then, Susan, leading right into that, there was another piece that came out there, right? Gaming content is on the rise on TikTok Live, right? So when we talk, right? So when we talk about game content driving new forms of engagement, viewership, so on and so forth.
It makes sense when you figure how big TV and film based on games suddenly is, in a way that it never used to be. Surely there's a correlation there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Gamescom 2026 this week, Stream, Hatchet, and TikTok plan to release a new data report that frames TikTok as gaming's fastest growing platform, right? So yeah, we don't have access to that data yet, but I'm very interested in seeing, what that data looks like. Most of the things that I had to talk about are squarely within the realm of classic gaming and a bunch of news. Actually, that's not true.
Let's go.
I have a couple of other ones, and I thought I would love your take on this one. Sorry, I realized that those tabs are buried at the bottom there. Playdate maker panic refunds tariff surcharges to customers. It's just not our money to keep.
That's great. I've been very disappointed to see the attitude of much as I like Nintendo, that they're not following suit on this. That's great.
Yeah, it's there was a specific window of time this year where we charged tariffs to customers. We had tried absorbing the cost for a while, but it was financially difficult for small company like ours. We made the tariff very obvious and clearly labeled line item, and then it's just not our money to keep, right? So I think it's wonderful that they did that. I would like to know what that revenue, like the size of that was, right? So if it's a small number, because I can't imagine Playdate selling 2 million units a week or something.
Right, yeah.
So it's excellent from a community and like a company perspective, right?
Yeah, it looks great on them,
Yeah. And it is, and it's, the right saying it's the right thing to do as well is every company and their cost burden is going to be different, right? And so without understanding the totality of that, it's hard to say, how that stuff gets refunded or where that money goes, right? I'm not making excuses for big companies or anything else. I'm just saying that there's no one, easy fit answer, for that, right? I mean, the flip side of the argument is if a company that you really loved, right, like a small company, let's say, like Panic, didn't go ahead and raise those rates and go out of business before those tariffs were then basically refunded. Well, now they're out of business, right?
Yeah.
And so again, there's a lot to this rocking, creaky economic boat.
I was going to say, maybe the answer is someone never should have passed ridiculous tariffs in the first place.
Perhaps you're right, Susan. Yeah, I can't argue with that. And then speaking of all of those, again, every situation is different, and how do we optimize for things? This article just came out. Xbox to focus on efficiency and affordability alongside performance for next-gen console amid rising hardware costs and innovations in AI. Did you happen to see this piece?
I did not. No, I didn't.
Yeah, I only had.
I haven't heard a lot from Xbox lately, generally. So
yeah. Of course, this comes to us through gamesindustry.biz. Awesome news site, so definitely go check them out. All the industry needs to start to innovate on affordability and efficiency, says Xbox boss Asha Sharma. And that is something we have not had to do previously, but with the crisis is currently happening in hardware and components, absolutely something all of us need to be thinking about and innovating on, and giving people more choice in terms of how they play their console and how they purchase their console. I don't know exactly what that means. We'll find out, I'm sure. I know players love physical media. I know there's a lot of benefits in digital media. I want to make sure people have a choice, she said. We've long pioneered backwards compatibility, and so you'll continue to see that as we go forward in the generations. So that is the statement that they're making. There's more to it, so I urge you all, if that is your interest, go ahead and check out the rest of the article. And then I did have one other one for you that is in the wake of GTA. Cloud Imperium delays Squadron 42 to 2027. There's no way.
Oh my God. That's definitely why it is. It's not that they can't finish the game.
After how many years? What's it been?
It's since Kickstarter started, right? This is one of the first games that got backed on Kickstarter.
Yes.
So it's got to be at least 15 years.
Yeah, there we go, right? There's no way I want to launch into the attention buzzsaw of GTA 6. All right. So does that mean that we're getting a firm date on the launch? I don't know. Would be great to see. Darren here in the chat says, speaking of tariffs, did you tackle the potential threat of continuing upcoming tariffs mentioned by the government? No, we didn't, because who the hell knows what that's going to actually mean? So we are, there's nothing else to discuss, because I don't know, man. I don't know. And then he said, "Hoo boy, right? Don't tell this to Derek Smart. He's like their arch nemesis."
Smart.
It has been fun to watch Mr. Smart's commentary throughout the years, right? And all that good stuff. But I mean, the cast for, I didn't realize all these big names were attached to it. Of course, you can tell there, Gary Oldman, right? Is there, but Gary Oldman, Gillian Anderson, Mark Hamill, Andy Serkis, and Henry Cavill is also there. Is also, involved with the project. So we'll see what happens. But yes, another launch scrubbed by GTA 6's impending launch. So yeah. All right. What other news is on the top of your brain today? I've got a couple of other pieces, but I realize I've been dominating this conversation. And I want to hear from you, my friend.
Manor Lords has topped 4 million in sales. That's really exciting.
Congratulations.
What I like about that game is that it's very firmly a concise piece of gaming. I remember there were articles, there were things on LinkedIn, pundits saying, "Oh, but it dropped off after 3 weeks with active users." And I love the fact that it's like a mixtape that you could. We should be able to just release games that are just their thing. It's like reading a book. You don't expect to continue reading the book. You finish it. I also think it's interesting. One of the things that I talked about a lot at Gamescom was the trend of these.
Don't worry about no, you didn't lose us. Don't worry about it. Your feed just got momentarily clipped. It's still going. Keep going. You're good. You're there.
Okay, good. One of the things that I spoke a lot about was about genre-specific publishers, like the Hooded Horse guys with Manor Lords, and I think that there are others springing up the same place that have a very specific type of gamer, and I think there's a lot of use to that. And like while publishers are starting to have questionable value, I think one of the places they do have value is when they have a community they can bring with them, and have that a loyal trust, around the sort of stuff that they publish.
Yeah.
So I think that that's proof of it, or somewhat proof of it, that that there's value in these kinds of publishers, small publishers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, completely agree. And right, community is so much a part of that. And people do forget too, right, that sometimes these games do have, their story loop has a shelf life or a play life.
Yeah.
You can still go back, but you're going to re-experience the same thing. Going back to mixtape, right? Because it is, I think, for me at least, it was kind of a one and done, beautiful, wonderfully crafted experience, but not something I would go back to, right, on multiple times because of what that game is or what that experience is, right, and kind of how that's structured. Although I say that, and I just went ahead and downloaded the oh my goodness, what is the Life is Strange. I downloaded the remaster of that and then the Before the Storm pack, and I'm like, I've already played through the first one like twice, but I'll go back and play it again because it's just wonderful, storytelling stuff. But speaking of community, and then going back, there was this announcement that I found pretty interesting, which is Stage Tour goes live on December 10th with hardware bundles up for pre-order now. Have you seen this yet?
Oh, this is the new Rock Band, intellectual era, right?
This is the new Rock Band, official launch here.
Nice.
And with new drums, new guitars, new collectibles. Sorry, it's checking volumes here. Right, all of those things here. And so, you're going to have the whole community of people that grew up playing this and playing Rock Band and Guitar Hero that are going to want to jump right back into this. They say down here the prices will currently cost $129.99 for the game and guitar, $149.98 as an increased price. So launch price will be $130, right?
I think that's going to be huge.
Yeah, but then you've got the $300 kit, which would be a basic drum kit, and a higher option if you want to add special cymbals to the drum kit.
Oh, wow. Right? Did I ever tell you that Lanyon learned quite really well to play the drums from Rock Band?
Yeah, well, you didn't tell me. About him, but
2 weeks, going from no skill at it to 99% expert. And over here in it's a bit different from the US, I think. Kids when they're taking instruments, they take an exam for different grades of exam. So he immediately went straight into his grade 6 exam on the back of that.
Nice.
How wild is that?
That's awesome. Well, that's what was it? Rockmaster, I think, was the name of the game that was created where it was a game, right? You could play with a real guitar, right? The drums, though, I did hear that when you played on an advanced level, I mean, you were learning to play the drums, right? You're not just, playing. Totally. But here's my wish, okay? I have, 2 drum kits, 6 guitars, at home. Will I still be able to at least use some of those pieces instead of having to buy all new gear? Probably not. Probably not. So I don't know if I want to go ahead and buy more plastic instruments, right, for a house, especially when my kids are kind of grown and out of the house. I'm not going to play a drum kit and a guitar by myself. So, see, Susan was so upset about it. She just decided to walk away. She's just listen, you knucklehead,
No,
yeah, bro.
Leah's in London asking me for something while I'm on camera. That's fine. I can multitask.
Darren in the chat says, for real, I felt like a roadie for Mattel back in the day. I can't have a repeat of that. And joining over here on Twitch is my co-host for the AWS Cloud Report, Fiona McCann, who decided to join the live stream this Friday. So, hey, Fiona, thanks for joining Boss Rush. This is a light day today as we're also migrating viewers from LinkedIn progressively over to these channels. So those numbers will continue to increase. And she says, woohoo, hey. So woohoo, hey, indeed.
Woohoo, hey.
So those are all the big news pieces that I have. But there's this one that is in the retro side, which is Commodore announces return to publishing with Alien Breed. Oh, my goodness. I am so excited for this, right?
That's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So Commodore had an awesome showing at Gamescom, right? So are you familiar with kind of what happened to the Commodore brand?
I am not. I was going to say, I know what the Commodore is. I didn't know that they were still around.
All right. So Christian, who goes by the name Perifractic, longtime YouTuber, and he and his wife, who's known as Lady Fractic, they have these retro recipe, live streams and program stuff. And they've been doing retro games and compute and all this stuff for a really long time. Christian grew up, though, in the UK, and Commodore was, the machine, right, that he grew up with, like so many people, right, that grew up in, that era of home computing. Anyway, he decided that he wanted to get some of the original people involved with Commodore and new investors together. They bought the rights to everything Commodore, and they basically restarted the company. And among the things that they've done is they have released new versions of the original, like Commodore 64, right? So here is their campaign. Commodore 64 Ultimate Basic is back, which I love that statement there, right? And they offer the basically fully compatible C64 hardware, but with a bunch of modern additions like, Wi-Fi, USB, and network connectivity, of course. If it has Wi-Fi, that's what network connectivity means. They made the new machines from the original tooling, which is awesome. And then they added all kinds of things. Clear colored cases, the FPGAs that they're using, amazing. It actually can use like an original SID chip, so you have authentic sound, like all of these things. Absolutely exploded. And they come in,
super cool.
You got your bread bin, but then you have this, I think it's called Starlight version. You have this gold version that came out. Then they went ahead and said, that's not enough. We've also got the Commodore 64 Ultimate. When you go to order it, they have two different versions of this. That's the new one, the Commodore 77. I'll show you that one in a minute. So they have, basic beige or Starlight, all those different things. They have the slim line as well, so that the second version of the C64 from back in the day. And again, they have it in like this clear Starlight one that has all the lights, beautiful. Right? All this other crazy stuff. And the peripherals are compatible. So if you have original hardware, it all works and everything else. But then the big thing that they announced at Gamescom was the Cyberpunk 2077 version of the C64. And so there it is. That's what it looks like. It takes all of these design cues from the Cyberpunk 2077 game. And there's their booth on the show floor.
That's fantastic.
Right, including like the wood-grained paneled rooms that we grew up, sitting in. In fact, I was looking at that desk and I was thinking there was a brand of furniture called O'Sullivan Furniture. It was like the original flat pack stuff before IKEA was doing it. And so you would get, it's got a cutout for a monitor. And look, a drawer that moves out that you can put your dot matrix printer on and kind of all this kind of crazy stuff. So they really leaned into that whole aesthetic. And then they had this futuristic aesthetic as well on the show floor. So for me, this was just awesome to see that Commodore is basically releasing new hardware. They are combining, merging old and new again, and they're back to publishing games again, which is just awesome.
That's really cool. That's
right?
really, really cool.
And
Yeah.
here's the other cool thing they're doing, Susan. They have a brand new flip phone. Welcome to the internet.
My God.
Okay. So yeah, and it's got this cool, right, clear color as well. Here you go. Runs 99% of Android apps, T9 style texting, music, competent camera, a radio, SID tunes, network support, no social media apps, no browsers, no data selling, pop-ups, all of that stuff. And their whole idea was, let's disconnect you from what the smartphone has become, and now just let you experience the world, right, without being constantly tethered to these devices that are constantly asking for your attention. And I love that they're doing it, because this is really, I think, tying into the trend that we're seeing. I mean, look at the heartstrings they're tugging at here. Okay, let's you and I just sit and bask in the glory of that. Look.
That's amazing. It's amazing. And Chris, I need to AFK for 2 minutes.
All right, you AFK, and I'm going to talk.
Wax nostalgic here.
Yeah, I will. Be right back. You do that, and I will go ahead and wax nostalgic on all of this too. And if you have any questions or comments about this, go ahead and pop them in the chat there. Fiona says, "Yeah, disconnect to connect, 100%. That is like the perfect way to describe exactly what this is, right? I find myself more and more just saying, look, I just need to disconnect from, from the world sometimes, so I can be more attentive, right, to my friends and family that I'm with, and pay attention to those things. But I also want to go ahead and make sure I do have a camera with me when I need one, right? It's got, I think, a 42 megapixel camera. It works on, a global brand, right? Look at this here. Yeah, all of these things, Signal, WhatsApp, Telegram, Messenger, WeChat, blah, blah, blah. All of those things. We have to go ahead, or rather, they don't allow for those things to or the social media pieces don't allow it to connect. So you can still get your messaging tools and everything else, but your social media stuff, right, kind of gets pulled away. So you can just focus on, you can just focus on being in the moment, with your friends, right, and your family. So, all right, and I think we have Susan muted now sufficiently. So anyway, actually, let me go ahead and get Susan out of there too, to make sure that she's doing her phone calls by herself, right? Okay. All right, we'll see you next time, Basha. And Fiona, I will actually see you next time on the Cloud Report as well. So yes, have a great weekend. All right. So yeah, 5 different colors for all of this stuff. I love this. Less scroll, more soul. Damn, they hit all of those things correctly. I just love that so much. So this is what they're doing. Sailfish OS is what they're using with the Commodore callback there. And we'll go ahead and bring Susan back into the chat. I had to mute you there for the stream, which we did effectively. So you were good.
Myself, I was still talking.
Oh, you sure were, but you nothing. Yeah, so you're all good. Linux based, never monetizes data, zero frictions, no sign in, just turn on. It's a little pricey for sure, but it's pretty fantastic. It comes with games, all that kinds of stuff. So that's what Commodore is doing. And then there were a couple of, let's see, it's Jay-Z Game Stay says, huge fan of C64 and Atari. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into that. So Atari just did a new announcement. The Atari and Activision announcement just came out. And here is what they are doing. let's go ahead and welcome back to the jungle. For the first time in 44 years, one of the original platforms returns as an Atari 2600 cartridge. So they're basically re-releasing all of these classic games. Don't worry, it says player logging in. You're still there, Susan. You'll be back in a second. They're releasing all of these games in these different tranches, right? So you will have, let me see, Pitfall, River Raid, Mega Mania, Enduro, Kaboom. Here, let me refresh that page. Why is all of that breaking there? Let's see. Waiting for Atari. Let's go, Atari. Where are you? We've got, okay, so the first, they have different collections that will be released. There's a treasure collection coming out that will include all of these games. And then they've announced these other collections that will be released into 2027. We can actually go ahead and check that out. So you have the Speed Collection, Enduro, Hero, Activision Decathlon, right? All those great things. You've got this Secrets Collection, Keystone Capers, Kaboom, Private Eye, Star Master, Spider-Man. I wonder why Kaboom, though, is on the Secrets Collection. Maybe because the protagonist is a thief? I don't know. Sneaky Thief, and then the Victory Collection. Pitfall 2, Lost Caverns, River Raid 2, Pressure Cooker, Plaque Attack. So, and all of these will come out as physical releases, physical box, physical cartridge. And I think for all of the collections, it's $1,000. Which is,
wow.
Yeah, which is a lot, but...
You going to do it?
No. I love Atari, but no, I'm not bringing $1,000 of these classic games home, all of which I already own in the box, right? So I don't think I can.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Treasure collection. I love that it's called the Treasure Collection.
Yes. So congrats to Atari and Activision for working all that out. And then another retro one, but newer retro one, Susan, is the Evercade Nexus. So have you played with the Evercade before? Do you know what Evercade is?
I have not. No, tell me.
So Evercade is a company that started making these devices, game devices, but all the games released on physical cartridges. And they wouldn't have like 200 games. It would be like 5 games on a cartridge, 3 games on a cartridge. So it's really started leaning into the let me build my collection, right? My physical collection of games. And they started with this TV box, basically, right? So it plugs into your television and accepts cartridges that you can go ahead and buy these collections for and play. But if you then took it along to a handheld system, all the cartridges work there as well. So you're not buying it for each individual system, right?
Yeah.
So they came out with this one. Then they had, let's see, is it the Alpha? The Alpha were these little arcade bar top things that you could pop your cartridges into there and play them there. Yeah. And now they've got the Nexus, and the Nexus is their next generation handheld. And this is what they were showing at Gamescom. And here is
that's very cool.
And here is the little trailer that they had for this. I think they are doing such a wonderful job of recreating that experience of collecting cartridges that work on these devices, but also giving players the opportunity to play across different formats, right? From TV to handheld, right? And this next gen device looks a whole lot more like a Switch or a Steam Deck, and just in terms of, not saying that it is as powerful, but a more advanced handheld that will be able to, play different types of games going forward. So really, really awesome. 80 cartridges available. Tate mode, so you can flip it sideways and play vertical scrollers. Like, just amazing. Amazing stuff.
Very, very cool.
So congrats to them for showing there. And then the Vectrex. I don't know if you remember the Vectrex, which was the first vector-based home game machine last year and it came with, with a monitor. So you had the really sharp, point-to-point drawing, right, that a vector monitor did. And then last year, they showed this at Gamescom and they refreshed it. And they're making this miniaturized version of the Vectrex. So no additional news to update there, but super excited that they're still doing it. So it'll be
The
this
golden era of return of retro gaming, isn't it?
It really is. It is that golden era of
I
retro
guess it's
games.
because everyone who played it is getting older and potentially nostalgic and potentially with dispensable income.
Boy, it's almost as if Gen Xers and Gen Ys with spending power and the desire to play are driving all sorts of new engagement. Like we talked about before, the He-Man movie, when it came out, the average moviegoer for the premiere was like 45 years old. Oh my goodness gracious. Like who would have seen that coming? Right? No, you're this way. You're this way. Like we've been talking about this for the longest time, but it's wonderful to see that finally happening.
It is.
And then I have one other update and it said, maybe we'll try this live as an experiment. And I don't know if it's going to work, and I didn't tell Susan about this. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Yeah. So Luna, which is Amazon's game streaming service, right? Available to anybody that has a Prime subscription, just launched their August content update. That includes Bluey, the video game, Batman, Caped Crusader Chronicles, which is exclusive to the Luna service. And if you're a Prime member, you already have access to Luna, right? To the base catalog of, I think, 80 games, right? Oh, look at that. It says right there, more than 80 games, right? Available through there. But one of the cool things that this service had that I didn't realize popped up recently was, and here is the window here. They have a new addition to the service that is a remote play option. So what remote play will do is it will allow you to go ahead and start your game, generate a code, give it to a friend, and then...
This is like what PlayStation did with the game sharing, right?
So the game sharing, I think, just allowed you to play the game, right? Did it actually allow you...
It allowed you to invite a friend who didn't have it, and they could play whilst you were playing it.
And at the same time, so it's couch co-op, but remotely, right?
Yeah. Because my son did it a lot during COVID, I think.
Nice.
It was.
Very nice. So let's
like that then. That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to not use that code since everybody can see that. We'll go ahead and generate a different. But I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and see if we can even. Actually, we didn't even need to do that. I think we did this. Well, we definitely did this once before. We were playing Flock Party. And QR code would pop up and then we'd have multiple people into play. But yeah, this new remote play feature is pretty awesome. I know it's cut off at the top of the screen that you can't see because that's what happens when you trim the interface before you, go ahead and jump right into the live stream there. But again, really cool that they continue to add more features, right, to Luna. Right? Which is pretty extraordinary. And if you are even Luna Standard, these are all the games that you can just instantly jump in and start playing right now.
I have to start messing with it. I have Prime, so it's silly that I haven't started messing with
it.
I need to.
Yes, I agree. So it is pretty awesome. And then Luna Premium even adds so much more to it, right? Arcade Paradise is so good, by the way. I don't know if you've ever played that, but you are basically operating a laundromat and
I know the game. Yes, I haven't played it. I remember when it came out.
Yeah, and then you can start to use the money you get from building a laundromat to start adding arcade games. Now you're managing the arcade and you're managing the laundromat side all at the same time. So it's really, really just a ton of fun. And the fact that it's now part of the Luna service too is pretty great. And all of the arcade games that you stand up in the environment are playable games.
That's cool.
Right? So it is very cool. But yeah, there is the remote play in there as well, which is pretty awesome. I wonder if Dispatch is there too, of course. Not appropriate to show on this family-friendly live stream, but yeah, it's there. Dispatch is amazing. But yeah, for multiplayer games, you can now go ahead and remote play and bring people in to play with you. So pretty cool. They just keep on adding more and more stuff. And if you're already a Prime subscriber, you already have access to the game. So.
I have like since it started. I've been like in Prime since day one.
Yeah. See, well, that's the thing. I hear most of the time, how come we don't know about this? It's like the company is getting better at letting people know right about it.
For a long time, it was the Twitch stuff. So my son was always stealing our like Twitch codes because we got that through Prime.
Yes. So I think I may have even mentioned this as well. Speaking of Twitch, well, since we're not going to try the live game because I don't want that to break for you or for me, and I realize we only have 4 minutes left.
Maybe for next time we could all have it ready to.
That would be awesome. I'll go ahead and set that up and make sure that we have all of that working there. But here's a really cool thing to make sure that we also share with you. Is let me see, we're going to open this here. There is pardon me, one of the things that a brilliant team that I get the chance to work with every day here, well, not every day anymore, but it's the Game Lift team, or the Game Tech team that runs all the Game Lift kind of services. And one of the things they've been working on with Twitch, and now I also believe is available in Discord, is the ability for game publishers to create these playable demos of their games directly from, the Twitch environment or Discord. So it will go ahead and start. And so you'll see an ad that will pop up, let's say, right? You'll see an ad that pops up on Twitch or on Discord, and you can go ahead and click into the game, and it should start loading. Now I'm using on a browser that I hadn't tried before, but we're going to see. So this will drop you directly into World of Tanks Heat, and so that's it. So now we are basically streaming directly from the cloud into this browser window here. So now you have the ability to go ahead and bring your games directly to players through these instant playable demos that have launched on Twitch and Discord.
That's really cool.
Right?
I want to know more about that. Yeah.
And
it's a new feature, is it?
Yes, this is a brand new set of, or it's a brand new opportunity, let's say, for game publishers.
Do you have a link to stuff about that, Chris?
Yes. I will make sure that I get a link to you all to go ahead and check this out. I'll put them down there in the show notes. Who is firing at me? Let's see. Look at how terrible I am at playing these games and also trying to talk. Oh, there we go.
Is it only specifically Luna Games, or any game publisher can do this?
Any game publisher can go ahead and basically take their game, wrap it up, and be able to go ahead and deploy it directly through Amazon Game Lift streams and this type of instant play demo. The great thing about it too is that it is it'll run Windows, Linux, or Proton, which means you have a whole variety of different hardware, of different GPUs, of different OSs, right? In which you can go ahead and deploy your game. It could be a AAA game all the way down to, simpler casual games, and they all just work. So if your game is running on Windows, if it's running on Linux, if it's running on Proton, right, on Linux, you can use this service to basically go ahead and create these instant play demos, drop players directly into the game from at the point that you want them to experience, and let them go ahead and play. And then there at the end, it gives you a call to action. If you want to go buy, it will link out to storefronts like Steam, right? And so it's no longer a passive ad that you have to build for multiple platforms and A/B test a bunch of stuff. You get to just put your game.
And you don't have to get someone to download a demo.
No download. Click and go, right? Any WebRTC-based browser, basically, right? So it's pretty awesome that they've done this. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Right. Well, that's all I've got for this week, Susan. We should end with, what are we playing? What are you playing right now?
I'm still playing Slay the Spire. I'm still a little bit hooked on that. I finally was making progress on the Ascension, and so it sucked me back in.
Yeah.
You? What are you playing?
My goodness, what have I been playing? I have been playing around with the Atari Game Station Go, which we talked about last week, which has a paddle spinner, a trackball, a number pad, and a control pad on the device itself. So if there's any classic game that required any weird sort of controls, they're on there. So I've been messing about with that and customizing it for myself. Also going back and playing Life is Strange. We're going back and playing a bit of Portal 2. So, I've been really, with the limited time that I have right now to play, I've been going back to things that give me comfort, right? And so that's what I've been messing about with. But coming out of Gamescom, there's a whole lot of stuff that I want to go ahead and check out. But that's about it. So that's going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of Boss Rush. I want to thank, of course, as always, my co-host, Susan, for
Sorry, I've been missing so long.
I know. Well, we did miss you. We absolutely did miss you, but so glad to see you. And thanks to everybody for going and joining. And remember, we're going to be streaming principally on YouTube and Twitch going forward until such time that LinkedIn decides to get their act together around streaming, because we just can't keep having stuff break over there. But the water's fine over here too. So let your friends know, let people know this is where we're going to go ahead and be. Of course, we'll be back next Friday for next episode of Boss Rush. And until then, we hope everybody is awesome and has a wonderful rest of your day and a fantastic weekend. And we'll see you next week on Boss Rush. Thanks, gang. Bye.
Bye all.